Hello. I've been seeing some like repeating messages through, I'll say like the main premise seems to be like hidden. So hidden desires, things coming to light that maybe were hidden in plain sight. Although it won't be hidden in plain sight for everyone because it's like layers and layers have been sloughing off. I was having left knee pain the other day, which I haven't had in a while. And so I sat with it and then I looked up a potential like metaphysical meaning to left knee pain. And the first thing that popped up was, like hidden desires. And then I have been seeing snakes everywhere. Just like on like the place I'm staying right now, I walked in and there's a little box with a snake on it. And then I went for a walk and this guy was sitting on a bench with an actual snake in a Tupperware container. I wish I remembered the color. I feel like there was red in the snake and there's actually red on this box. So yeah. And the knee is in, what we call like the root energy center. So it feels like something physical, like a tangible, physicalized hidden desire. So it can be something emotional, of course, that can be expressed as something that will be more physicalized or tangible. It will be different for each one of you. I'm not really getting specifics. I have a list of some repeating themes. And I just wanted to, and I felt like my teeth were really being like highlighted. And I looked up the metaphysical meaning of teeth, and one of the connections is belief systems. So if you've been like maybe trying to switch up how you take care of your teeth, or maybe your gums have been a little bit sensitive, there's something about, maybe you've been dreaming about teeth, there's something about teeth, or maybe you're just seeing teeth symbolism. But yeah, so it's something about perhaps you're releasing, or you've been releasing, or maybe you just are coming out of that cycle of some sort of, the popular term now is limiting belief that has perhaps been sort of kept hidden in plain sight, if you will, or under the surface. And just like, a snake sheds its skin, something is being, I keep hearing that phrase, sloughed off. Like an ancestral pattern. You may be seeing 999, or repeating nines, closing cycles. Yeah. So, and snakes, have so much symbolism within them, light and shadow. They can really also represent like feminine mysteries. So that could be relevant here. Esoterica, of course. We started in the root and now I feel like we're being taken into the sacral. So, and I've been getting a lot of this energy lately where it feels like perhaps there's been like a dimming of the sacral energy just to sort of come back in a new expression. So there can be this like Kundalini activation depending where you are with that. It could be your first experience, it could be your multiple experiences, but there does feel like there's some sort of shift in that. Stethoscopes. I kept seeing stethoscopes. Well, I was scrying in the clouds one night, not even like intentionally, and I saw so clearly a stethoscope, and then I started talking to two people who were wearing stethoscopes in photos. So there could be something about a stethoscope being relevant. it could mean something different for each one of you. But there could be just something about like noticing them or seeing them. You know, it's really funny because right after I mentioned the sacral, I heard the heart, and I had forgot that I had written down stethoscope. And of course, you generally listen to the heartbeat with a stethoscope. So, and I just heard like, what's that expression when you say skipping a heartbeat? You make my heart skip. So yeah, there's something about getting that feeling again. You know, whether it's romance, whether it's just something really passionate, really something really love to eat. I don't know. There's just something about like, yeah, I keep hearing this. The pleasure principle has been coming through a lot. And like, you know, this is really for those who have been shedding a lot of their old skins. And now it's like getting to reestablish your pleasure principle and what, or, you know, if you're someone who's already been in tune with that, there's a deepening there. Other things I was seeing, old-fashioned cars and like 50s music. So, you know, like Happy Days type of vibe. Yeah, like there was something really coming up with that. And I just heard in my head, like, what did they say? Do you want to go steady? Or like they would say, like, do you want to wear my pin? I don't know. There's something about like bringing back a version of, it's not necessarily like living in Happy Days, but there's just something about like the innocence of that time, or at least portrayed, that seems to be coming through. But it could just also be something personal for each person. Rats. I had this really wild dream with a rat. Within a few days, this rat was, if I had already spoken about this in a different transmission, my apologies, but yeah, I was sort of like at this ballet practice recital, or at least some form of dance. And there were a lot of like younger girls there, maybe like preteen. And that age keeps coming up, like preteen. So it does feel like there's these closing up of cycles of, you know, people say inner child healing, but like preteen, teen era. And of course, dance is such a like worldwide thing, you know, like dancing is almost relevant in every culture, at least that I can think of. I'm thinking of maybe certain repressed cultures that maybe like, I don't know, I'll have to do more research on that. If anyone knows, please feel free to share. But yeah, there's something about like universal language and how dance, you know, no matter what language you speak, can still be expressed. So that's interesting. Anyway, so in the dream, I don't even remember my role. I think I was actually with, it's funny, speaking of teenager, I was with someone from high school who I haven't seen in a really long time. And she kept trying to get us to make money in the dream, like trying to give us gigs to like make money. And I was like, I know I should be doing this, but this is not how I want to be going about it. And I was like trying to listen to her, but I kept like winding off on my own and like doing my own little thing. Anyway, so we were both at this like recital thing, trying to help these kids get ready, and a rat like ran through, and somehow we were inside, but then, you know, dreams, there was like some body of waterfall like above us, and this rat like kind of like a flying squirrel, like just started to fly. It like spread all of its legs out, and it was beautiful. It had like flowing long hair, like golden hair. And I know like rats get a really bad rap, but they're actually really warm-hearted creatures, and they're super intelligent. And yeah, so there could be something about rat symbolism if you want to go deeper with that. Could be the year of the rat. They say like, you know, this whole idea of experimentation stems from the Atlantean epoch, and how rats are so heavily used as being experimented on. So I can't believe I'm sharing this, but the other day I was walking, and after I ran into an actual rat after I had the dream. Like I was walking the dog I'm watching, and a rat just like, it was so crazy. Actually, the rat like ran up to us. Like it almost touched like the dog. And then the dog, of course, like wanted to try and get it. So then it ran away. But it came like so close to our feet. And I kept seeing rats in other ways too. Like they just kept coming up symbolically. And so as I was walking, I was like, okay, like, of course, there's usually multiple reasons why I will see repeating signs and symbols, and maybe you do as well. And I was asking like what's going on, and I was basically taken to like a rat blueprint, or like the imprint of rats on, you know, on our earth, and like how much they've been like tortured and you know, all the stuff. So basically I was just like doing some like, I don't know, maybe some of you do this too, that's why it's coming up, or maybe like you felt called but you weren't really sure. I've heard a few other people speak about this too. So yeah, it's like you tune into, I'm just going to use the word blueprint, and, you know, basically like setting intentions, and maybe you see like something like a rat, for example, where most people like run away and think it's disgusting. Maybe you see like the beauty in the rat. I don't know. There's something about that coming through. Okay, let's see. You could be seeing also repeating sixes, raw emeralds. It doesn't have to be raw, but for some reason raw emeralds came through. And of course the emerald has so much symbolism. Like Wizard of Oz has also been coming through a lot lately. The Page of Wands and Tarot. And if any of this calls to you, feel free to go deeper. Some of this may connect with you. It doesn't have to be every single thing. This just really feels like a sort of update of energetic signs, synchronicities, and maybe repeating patterns. And I want to read a little bit about the raw emerald. Saraswati also kept coming through. Saraswati, a Hindu goddess of knowledge, wisdom, music, and the arts, which feels really fitting because there was so much of that, like the pleasure principle, you know, around creativity, expression, sensuality. Saraswati is often depicted with 4 arms, each holding a symbolic item: a lotus, a book, a musical instrument, and a rosary. And yesterday, or whenever I recorded last, the lotus kept coming through as well. The lotus symbolizes true knowledge, while the veena is a string instrument that represents the music of life and love. Saraswati is also often shown riding a swan and accompanied by a peacock. She goes by other names. Interesting, I kept saying the pleasure principle, and it says Saraswati is one of the principal goddesses in Hinduism, revered as the goddess of knowledge, education, learning, arts, speech, poetry, music, and purification. Yeah, so that snake energy, this purification of, you know, like the high priestess archetype, or that the high priest. I heard again, hidden in plain sight. That keeps coming through. You could be finding feathers, specifically white and black feathers. I was talking about this the other day too. Like you may have a ramping up of your mental body right now. I know I've been experiencing that. Maybe like increased chatter, mental chatter. Like I said, lower body pain. Even if it's not all the time, it could be like empathically, like ankles, knees, specifically knees. Another sign I kept seeing, oh, monks. So someone here could be remembering like the essence of living like a monk, or maybe another lifetime as a monk, or dreams as a monk. There's something that keeps coming through about a monk, or maybe you're just like fascinated with monks. the square root sign. I kept seeing that as well. So I looked it up and it was saying something about like the square root of truth. So yeah, there's something about, I don't know, mathematics could be significant. But something about like, so like kind of what I'm hearing is like your purest form of truth. Now, of course, this will be different for each one of you, but depending on how connected that you are, you know, if you're someone that's always been pretty connected to your own inner truth, and I always feel like there can still be deepenings of that. So, or for some of you, it could be like reconnecting to that inner truth, especially again, that preteen, teenager years, like perhaps you were at some point and then maybe, you know, life happened. So it's like you're kind of coming back to that, like the raw emerald, like this raw expression. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Speaking of, it's actually a bit rainy, like sprinkling type of rain here today where I am, which doesn't happen too often, at least from my experience being here. And it was I was talking about this the other day, like this misty energy, like misting, light water, working with sprays and mists, going out in like misty rain. Yeah, there's something about, but symbolically it also feels like it's like all the heavy purging has been done already, and there's just these like, you know, little releases here and there. Now, if you are someone who's still in the midst of heavy purging, then that is totally okay. But this does feel like there's, at least there will be a lightening up. Actually, I cried last night watching something, and I didn't like realize, I just like feel like I needed a good cry. I wasn't even crying about anything specific. I mean, it was the show I was watching. And I actually talked about this with a friend. Like sometimes I'll be guided to watch certain things, and I've always been so sensitive to watching movies and TV and things, and I always would cry. Even if something happens to me and like I don't have those tears, it's like I release really well when I watch TV or something, or like certain movies, or yeah, things like stories. So that could be specific for someone as well. Yeah. Even if you don't have a reason, like just maybe needing a good cry could be relevant. Oh, I also stepped in poop the other day, and I was like, it's so funny because I love to look things up, and you know, there's so many like belief systems. Like some things said like, oh, watch out, something's not good, and other things like, oh, it's great luck to step in poop. So I guess life is really what we perceive it to be, and listening to our intuition. So in those factors, but maybe someone recently just stepped in poop, or maybe you will. Raw emerald. Emeralds are associated with many spiritual meanings, including love, healing, the heart center, emotions, protection, wisdom, balance, self-awareness, new beginnings, eternal life. In ancient Egypt, emeralds were believed to be a source of eternal life. New beginnings, yeah. So basically, there's also, if we go deeper into some of the like DNA lineages, there's a lot about the Emerald Order, and that's something I usually go deeper with in Patreon. So if that interests you, let me know and I can go more into that. Yeah. So in the Patreon overflow, I will probably go into some of the Emerald Order teachings and understanding that a little bit more, and any other higher ascension mechanic aspects that want to come through. Yeah, so thank you so much. Yeah, this is just something that wanted to come in very unplanned. I actually was about to, I'm waiting to take this adorable dog for a walk because he's stubborn and won't walk even if it's a little bit raining. And then this just sort of flew in. So thank you so much. If you have something to say, please feel free to. And yeah, that's all.